Hello and welcome to another episode of Mid-Island Custom Diecast. My name is Evan, and today we have the Hot Wheels Hummer H3T Concept for the Hummer Bummer build put on by the Three Blind Mice. Hummer introduced the H3T Concept, a two-door truck rather than the typical SUV or four-door H3 trucks at the 2004 Los Angeles Auto Show. And this Hot Wheels version is in like a metallic gray with Hot Wheels tampos on the side and a smoky front windshield with no rear windshield. So I've already gone ahead and drilled, and as I was tapping the rear post, my tap broke off in it. So here you just see some of the details on the side. It's got a bed door that allows you access into the bed. And some fancy stuff on the front. As I turn it around to the underside, you'll see the broken off post that I've cut down to size so that I can repair it with an aluminum tube. Here's the aluminum tube from K&S. Fits right over that post. So we will mark it to an approximate length. And cut it with the cutoff saw on my Dremel. Once we have it cut, we will take a little super glue, dab it around the post, and stick that in there. Once that's sort of held in place with the glue, I'll mix up some JB Weld and fill the aluminum tube with that, which I forgot to film. Here is the tube affixed to the post, filled with JB Weld, and I slather it on the outside too, just to give it a little extra hold. And now I've got it cut down to size here so that it lines up with the base, and I've got it sort of tapped, drilled out and tapped for the same screw as the front post, which is a 256 button head screw in this case. I find it hard to find the hex head screws where I live, so all of mine are Phillips, which works just fine. With the post repaired, we'll go ahead and work on getting off any extra bits of paint and oxidation with the wire wheel on the Dremel. Going over the body with the wire brush gives me an opportunity to look for any casting lines or sort of any ugly little defects that need to be sanded down. So once we're done with the wheel, I'm going to start with a little emery board nail file and just work some of those casting lines around the door. The casting lines on this were around the door, really along the back, the top of the bed, and along the sides of the hood. Here I've got some sanding sticks I just picked up. This is a rather coarse grain, and this is a rather fine grain. After all the sanding and filing is finished, I'm going to go over the entire body with some Scotch-Brite. I find the Scotch-Brite really it doesn't rough up the metal so much that you can see the scrapes, but it does provide the paint something to sort of hold on to. I also like going over it with the 4/0 steel wool. This just smooths out any scrapes from the Scotch-Brite. Now, before we go to paint, I'll always give it a good wash, if it'll ever come out of there it goes. A good wash with some industrial degreaser. This is the Benefect brand that is used for cleaning soot and smoke residue but works wonderfully in this application as well. So here I've already gone ahead and sprayed a gray primer on the body. I thought I better check before we get too far into painting if the wheels fit that I wanted to use for this one, and they don't. So I went ahead and channeled out where the axles sit so we can fit some tubes in there, and taken the needle files and worked all three sides of each of the wheel wells on the chassis. Here on the body, you can sort of see that we've had to file all of the wheel wells here as well with the drum sander on the Dremel. Get it to focus here. You can see I filed the front and the back off just to give the wheel some turning space. And you know, it doesn't look perfect, but once it's painted you can hardly tell, and the wheels roll nice and smooth. So now that we got the wheels fitting, we'll go ahead and put the base or chassis in my little plastic cup here and spray some Easy Off on it. Leave that to sit overnight, and in the morning wash it off, and we end up with a nice black plastic base, which I then sprayed with Tamiya mica silver. And while we're still talking about the base, we'll go ahead and show some of the detail work. Here is a gunmetal gray color from Testers for the front fog lights, I guess, or you know, whatever these lights are. And we just fill that all in. You can see some gloss Nuln oil for the gaps in the grill and all the gaps in the winch. Still trying to work out how this Nuln oil works best. I see people putting it on and wiping it off all the time, but every time I wipe it off, it just takes it right out of the gaps as well. You can see using my phone here to get the details right. This is a Tamiya orange for the side or the front marker lights, turn signals, and white for the headlights. And here's a little peek at how that turned out. So off camera, I went ahead and cut up some axle tubes, grooved them, glued them in place, cut the axles. These wheels are from Treads 164. Really nice wheels and axles, but just too short for the width. And here, yeah, this is not my finest moment using the Testers enamel. I think it's a Chrysler engine red paint. And you see I've gone ahead and taped off the outer treads on the tires, and we're just trying to put a red stripe like the Concept show car had down the middle of each tire, which really never dried. Even now it's not dry. So tip from me, do not use enamel paints on rubber tires. But they do look pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. They just leave red marks everywhere you roll it or set it down. So it's sitting on a piece of paper on my display shelf. Now while we're working on plastics, we'll take this little windshield piece, which of course is already done in a smoke, and it's in fairly good shape, but with a few scuffs. So we take the green Flitz polish and a Q-tip and rub that in there nice. Then we'll take a little Meguiar's Plastex polish, and I like to rub it in until I hear the windows start to squeak, and that is my cue that it's finished. Once that's done, we'll wash it off in some soapy water and get it ready for the pledge dip. Now we take the mason jar, Pledge, and my little tweezers. And we just go ahead and dip that in there and shake it all around a little bit. Careful not to get any bubbles on it, and tap off any excess. And then any of the excess that gets caught around the corners we'll dab off on a little piece of shop towel and place it on this lid and cover it up for a few hours, but really I usually leave them overnight. Now we're going to take the mica silver and apply it to the hood and the roof, just where the silver accents are on the original concept model. And what you don't see in the video that I've left out is that I already tried to paint this once with the base color first and then adding the silver, and that I just couldn't do. So here we're going to do the silver first, like so. And here you see I've got the sort of hood detail and areas that are supposed to stay silver on the roof taped off. And now we're going to do the black sapphire metallic paint. I really love this paint. I used it on my first video for the Porsche, and I thought it was just the best option for this model. So after a couple of quick coats of the black sapphire metallic, go ahead and take the tape off. We've just let it dry enough to sort of get tacky, but not totally dry. I find that gives me the best clean lines when removing tape. And then we'll pull the tape off of the hood detail, and everything turned out pretty nice. And now we're going to take a toothpick with some white paint and detail out the roof lights, and I'm going to do that on both sides, driver and passenger. And then we'll take a toothpick with a clear orange, do the same thing. Half the light is orange, half the light is white. And then on the rear we got these little cotton buds, the precision cotton buds, that will do the middle orange marker light on the rear of the roof, and same on each side, white and orange. And here you can also see along the edge of the bed I've gone with the I don't remember, chrome silver Tamiya paint, which matches with the mica silver quite nicely, and I've colored in the bed rails with that as well. And here on the tail lights, we're going to take the Tamiya flat aluminum to give the tail light casings, I guess, a more plastic look, and do all inside them so we can have a bit of a silvery tone to the back of the lights as well. And on the bottom there you can see that I've already done the rear markers with the gunmetal. And once the silver color's on, we'll fill in the lights with the appropriate colors and head to the booth for a clear coat. So this is the Tamiya TS13 clear, and we'll do a couple of coats of that, and that's it. So here's all the pieces, and while I'm putting them together, I have a little reminder of what we started with. And here is where we ended up. So here is my version of the Hummer H3T Concept, much the same as the actual car that was shown in the 2004 Los Angeles Auto Show. Detailed out the handles, the roof, the hood, swapped the tires, carved out the wheel wells. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with it, and if you agree with me, please hit the like button and subscribe and share. Feel free to leave a comment. I would love to see what you all have to say. Anyway, we'll leave you with a bunch of quote-unquote glamour shots and look forward to seeing you next time.